My husband and I planned a spur-of-the-moment trip to Tennessee to explore Nashville and to do some thrifting. The night before we took off, I had a crazy idea of how we could take our thrifting adventures to the next level. Are you ready for this?
I think so.
Since we were not in any rush, I thought, why don't we make this road trip even more exciting by setting out to thrift in 5 states in one day.
Stop number 3 was a success.
Follow along as we compare pricing in each state, as we pick our favorite stop that we hope to go back to in the future.
I could have spent another 2 hours in there. It was really good.
And as we overcome some challenges and learn what we should have done differently.
It's been 9.5 hours since we left home. Do you actually think we're gonna make it in time?
It's time to get ready for a full travel day of thrifting, starting out right here in Michigan. I have an outfit in mind that I think is going to be perfect for being comfortable in the car, but also great for popping in and out of thrift stores. I'm planning to go with this Free People sweater set, which actually was the first item I thrifted at the beginning of this year. Now that we are all packed up and ready to go, it's time to head to our first location. Since I just came up with this crazy idea last night, we haven't had a lot of time to plan out where we're gonna go, so we're kind of doing it along the way.
Are you ready for this?
I think so.
The way we decided which thrift stores we were going to go to was by looking up which Goodwill was closest off the highway and still en route to the next state that we needed to get to.
We're just arriving at our first location. We ended up in Battle Creek. Never really been here before. It looks like a pretty big thrift store, so let's head in and see what we can find.
My initial thoughts walking in was that it seemed pretty big and there was a lot to choose from, so I'm excited to look around. My plan is to start looking in the home decor, but before I do...
I almost forgot, we only have 30 minutes in each location, so will you set your timer? Okay, 30 minutes starts now.
I'm starting in the frames because one goal of this trip would be to find some really cool artwork to bring home. No luck here, so I moved on to the other household items. I was definitely feeling the pressure to look quickly, but I still wanted to find some good stuff, and then I did end up finding this tray buried underneath some other things. I don't have anything like it in my home, and I figured I could find a place for it.
There's so much artwork here.
I was initially excited about all the options here, but good artwork is hard to find, and I just didn't end up coming across any. So far, I just have the tray in my cart, and now I'm gonna move on to the clothes. Looks like the sweaters here are $6.99, which is pretty comparable to what I'm used to in the Grand Rapids area.
I actually really like the color of this.
The quality was also so good, so I added it to my cart. This next item I was surprised to find because it was exactly what I was hoping to find, but didn't actually think that I would.
Okay, this is perfect. Definitely gonna grab that. How many more minutes do I have?
20.
Okay, that's good.
I was very surprised it had only been 10 minutes, but anywhere I can save time, the better, so I'm still gonna try to look quick. Moving on to the pants, I wanted to see if there were any good ones to go with the 2 tops that I just grabbed.
These could work. I don't think I love the color. Ooh. Still don't love the color.
After doing some digging, I found this blue pair of comfy pants, which are exactly what I was looking for just for hanging around the house and running errands.
I actually really like these.
I love both the color and the style of them, and before I head out, I'm going to check the dresses. I love a good matching set, and I thought it was so funny that I found 2 that were similar to the outfit that I'm wearing.
Size small. So it's not my size, but they have it priced at $12.99. If it was my size, I probably would have got it.
After putting back the sets and checking the dresses, I decided to call this good on my Michigan haul. It was time to check out and head back to the car so that we can decide where we're gonna go next. Thank you so much.
First of all, how did I do on time?
You had 5 extra minutes.
Anywhere we can save time on this trip is gonna be great. I did end up coming home with some fun things, and at the very end of this video, I'll end up showing you how I style each item. Nick's pulling up the map to see where our next location is going to be, but now we are just going to head straight south to Indiana.
It's good that I'm letting my husband be in charge of where we're going, because I was thinking we were going to go to Indiana, but he thought it would be best to hop over to Ohio and then come back to Indiana. So off to Ohio we go.
We're about 20 minutes out from our second stop, and we realized by adding Ohio into the thrift stores that we're stopping at, it's adding at least 45 minutes of drive time, and we had to stop and pay tolls. We just had to pay over $4 in tolls. So I'm really hoping this stop in Ohio is worth it. What city are we in? Bryan, Ohio. Very cute little town. We've got about 5 more minutes until we will be at the Goodwill. Well, we made it to stop number 2. Let's head inside and put 30 minutes on the clock and see what we can find in Ohio.
I once again started off in the artwork, and to my surprise, I found something I really liked.
That's kind of cute. Okay, off to a good start.
Nothing really stuck out to me in the home decor, so I moved on to the clothing. Another large and organized store, so let's see what we can find. I started out in the sweaters and found this really simple cream one that I thought would be great to layer over dresses, or I could even wear it with jeans. After adding that one to the cart and then doing a quick look through the rest of the racks of clothing, I was left a little bit underwhelmed by what I was finding, so I decided to stick with just the sweater and the print.
I'm running out of time, so I think I'm just gonna go with the sweater and the print so that we can move on to the next spot.
It's more about quality over quantity anyway, and these are two really solid pieces, so now I'm gonna check out so that we can head to the car.
6:17. Thank you so much. Stop number 2. How long do you think till we get to the third place?
We got a lot of Indiana to work through, so
We're back in the car with 5 seconds to spare.
Time to move on to stop number 3 so we can keep this trip moving.
I would say one thing I'm nervous about is that it's already after 2 o'clock and we still have 7 hours to go until we make it to our hotel for the evening. We're coming up on a little bit of traffic. It is 3:20. 1 more hour until we get to Indiana, which will be our third stop.
About an hour later, we were finally pulling into the Indiana thrift store, and we came up with a plan to try to save some time.
Nick's gonna drop me off and then he's gonna go get food so that we can hopefully cut on time. So we'll see you in a little bit.
So for stop number 3, I'll be thrifting by myself, so hopefully I can stay focused and try to wrap up by the time that Nick is back with the food. I saw these books right when I walked in, so I figured I'd check them out to see if there were any good ones for styling. I grabbed this one here, Cooking with Fruit, but if you take the sleeve off of it, it's the most beautiful green color, and I already know I'll easily be able to style this in my house. From there, I walked straight to the back to check out all of the home decor and furniture. I was pretty blown away by their furniture section. The other 2 stores definitely did not have this. This like-new dresser from IKEA was priced at $69, which I really didn't think was that bad.
I don't think I need it, but it is not a bad price for this thing.
I was really only about to throw a dresser in our van for the trip if it was something that I absolutely had to have. I really thought I had something here with this shelf, but once I got up close and checked it out, I think it was just from the Target dollar section. Even though I didn't find anything I had to have, it really was overall a great home section, but now I'm gonna move on to the clothes. This is the point when I realized that the clothing section actually looked so great here, and unfortunately, I didn't have a whole lot of time left to look. With under 10 minutes to go, I did end up finding this brown jacket that I thought was really cool, and this gray top where I thought if I just give it a good wash, it would look really great with some jeans. I sure wish I had time to look through more, and the shoes, because these were 2 that caught my eye.
Nick just texted me that he's on his way back, which means I have about 5 minutes. This is actually really cute. I'm gonna put it in my cart. So I have about 5 minutes and then I've got to get out of here.
I took a minute just to look everything over and make sure I wanted to get it, and then here is my haul from Indiana. Definitely stay tuned for the end where I will be trying everything on and really breaking down the individual states, but now it is time to check out at stop number 3, which has by far been my favorite, and I really wish I would have had more time to spend here. I'm thinking that it might be a good idea to plan a trip back to this exact location in the near future.
Stop number 3 was a success.
Smells so good in here. You missed out. That was the best one. I could have spent another 2 hours in there. It was really good. I was actually sad that Nick didn't get to experience that store with me, but so thrilled that it was finally time for us to eat some lunch now that it's 5 o'clock. We are feeling much more excited and re-energized now that our stomachs are full, and knowing that we only have 2 states to go until our final destination.
Got a little bit of traffic here. We're gonna be cutting it real close, so we're trying to just keep on moving and keep our stops very brief.
After getting out of some traffic and after what felt like being in the middle of nowhere for quite some time, we made it into Louisville, Kentucky. At this point, it had been about 8 hours since we left home, and I was starting to wonder if there was any way we were going to make it to the Tennessee thrift store before they closed.
15 more minutes and we'll be at the 4th thrift store of the day.
At this point, my goal is to make the Kentucky thrift the fastest one yet so that we can keep moving. This looks like a great place to be our 4th stop, so let's see what we can find very quickly. Starting out in the artwork, I found these 2 photos that I thought were so unique.
I love the size of these. It's hard to find ones that are just big. I think that these are so cool, and I don't want to spend $50 on them. So I think I'm gonna pass. Had they been $5 each, I probably would have snagged them. But now I'm gonna take the last few minutes to peek through the clothes. I ended up grabbing this green top, this sweater dress, and then this sweater because I really like the details on it. And then while heading over to the dresses, I found two things that I wish were in my size. Look how cute this skirt is. I've been seeing people style these and I think it's so fun, but this one just seems a little bit too big. Otherwise, I would have snagged it. These are so cool. If these would have been in my size, I would have definitely got them. Those will be two great finds for someone else, but now let's see if I can find a dress. I found this really cute gingham one that I added to my cart, and now that is gonna wrap up my Kentucky finds. It's time to check out, and I'm actually excited about these finds because I found two dresses and I hadn't found any dresses all day. Time to head to the car where we were surprised to see that it is now pitch black outside. Stop number 4, and now it's time to head to Tennessee. So even though we found a thrift store in Tennessee that was open until 9 p.m., we wouldn't be arriving there until about 9:30. I was definitely bummed just because if we would have left even an hour earlier, we could have successfully made it to all 5 states in one day. We pulled into our hotel about 12 hours after we left the house this morning. We're gonna go ahead and get some rest, and then tomorrow we're gonna hit up the Tennessee thrift stores. The nice thing about that is we really get to take our time to look through the racks and find some fun things. So stay tuned for my Tennessee thrift haul, but for now, let's recap thrifting in Michigan, Ohio, Indiana, and Kentucky. Starting off with what I purchased in my home state of Michigan. I ended up coming home with 4 items and I spent a total of $23.13. The very first article of clothing that I found on this trip is this really cool green sweater. I see people thrifting vintage Henley sweaters, I think is what they're called. And for this one, I just love the color. The quality is amazing. It is extremely cozy and I'm excited to throw it on with some jeans and get a lot of wear out of it this winter. The second item I grabbed is this really cute little tie cardigan. I truly had been keeping an eye out for a top like this at the thrift store for a while, so that's why I was just extra excited to find this one. Moving on to these pants. I just love a wide leg pair of pants, plus I love the color of these ones. This is the kind of thing you're gonna find me wearing 90% of the time, just because I love dressing comfortable while also trying to make it look cute. And for my last find in Michigan was this tray. I love checking the home section at the thrift store. I often go to that section first. And I really don't have a lot of trays or anything like this in my home, so I knew I'd easily be able to find a place for this. In Ohio, I ended up purchasing 2 items and my total amount spent was $6.17. First of all, I got this sweater and it truly is so comfortable and I already can think of so many different ways to style it. This is just one I'm really excited to style and wear really all year round. And then last but not least is this framed piece of artwork. One of my goals for this trip to Tennessee was to come home with a really fun piece of artwork, really that would just remind me of the trip. So I was really excited that I found this one at only the second thrift store that we went into. I really love the colors of it and right away when I saw it, I knew I was going to style it in a gallery wall in my girls' playroom. And again, it's just a great memory of our road trip to Tennessee. Next up is my haul from Indiana. I think it's pretty obvious that the thrift store we stopped in Indiana was my favorite. I'm not necessarily saying my haul from Indiana was my favorite. I'm just saying that I love the thrift store and I did not have nearly enough time there and I definitely want to go back in the near future. I ended up purchasing 5 items in Indiana and my total was $24.56. For the first item, I have this charcoal button down. I really love how this one is very lightweight and just really easy to either dress up or down with a light wash pair of jeans. I am really loving brown recently, so I was excited to find this brown comfy little shacket. I just think the quilted texture on this one is so cool, and I can wear it buttoned or unbuttoned, and this will just be a great one to throw on all throughout the year. Then I ended up finding this lavender sweater vest. My sister just thrifted a really similar one in green pretty recently, and I thought it was very cute on her, so it inspired me to grab this one. I think it's just really fun and simple, but it's also just a really great pop of color. I love a good white blouse, and I spotted this one right as I was about to leave the store. The detail on the sleeves are really great. Again, this one's pretty lightweight, and I'm excited to style this one either with a skirt or even just dressing it down with a pair of jeans. And then the last item I found is this green book. It's kind of fun that this one is cooking with fruit because I can style it in my kitchen and I can open it up for some inspo on some things to cook. Again, I really just love the color of this one and I think it's so fun to go into a thrift store, take some sleeves off the books and have it go from this to this. And then last but not least, here is my haul from Kentucky. I came home with 4 items and I spent a total of $28.37. What's really fun about this haul is I ended up coming home with 2 dresses. And if you've watched any of my last videos, I have not been able to find a lot of good dresses recently.
The very first dress that I found is this charcoal sweater dress. It is actually brand new with tags, and I'm definitely excited to throw this on with some tall boots and wear it throughout the fall and winter. Next up is this gingham print dress. Right away when I saw it, I also imagined wearing it with my boots, but also with a turtleneck underneath. This is a really great one that I can layer up for the fall and winter, but then I can also wear it on its own in the summer. And then for my last two finds, I grabbed this top here. I really like the simplicity of it, but then also the extra detail that it has around the neckline. So I just thought that this would be really great to throw on, add a little jewelry, and you're good to go. And then for the final find of this trip, I got this green top. I just love all the subtle details on it with the pocket, has really pretty sleeves. And right away when I saw it, I just thought it was such a great, simple basic to have for fall and winter.
And now for the total amount I spent.
Between the 4 states that we thrifted in, I ended up purchasing 15 items, and my total amount spent was $83.23. One thing I was really interested about learning with this challenge is if the different states differed in their pricing. I was really surprised to learn that the sweaters in Michigan ended up being the highest price, and in Indiana, they were the lowest. It's still not a huge difference, but I just thought it was very interesting to see how the different states price their clothes. So now, if and when we do this again, here is what I would do differently. First of all, I would plan farther in advance as opposed to just winging it on the fly like we did. Had we taken the time to map out where we were going to go beforehand, we could have, 1, done some research to really have an idea of what cities we're going to have good thrifting in, and 2, we would have learned that if we would have just left 2 hours earlier, we wouldn't have been in a rush, and we would have made it to all 5 states. Overall, I am so glad I had this crazy, spur-of-the-moment idea to thrift in every single state on our way to Tennessee, and I would do it again tomorrow if I could. The good news is, this wild thrifting adventure is not over yet, because in my next video, I'm going to be checking the 5th state off my list by thrifting in Franklin, Tennessee. Be sure to stay tuned, because what started off a little dry at the thrift store turned into what I can confidently say is one of my best thrift hauls to date.
I think that was my best haul yet.
Thanks for coming along on this crazy adventure with us as we traveled from Michigan to Tennessee for the weekend. And I will catch you in my next video where I ended up coming home with more items than I did in Michigan, Ohio, Indiana, and Kentucky combined. One last thing before you go, I just want to take a minute to say a huge thank you to all of you guys for watching and supporting my channel. I launched just over a month ago, and I am so blown away by all of the love and support you guys have given me. I truly feel like this is just the beginning, and I have so many more fun videos in the works that I can't wait to share with you guys. So be sure to hit subscribe to continue to help my channel grow, and follow along for many more thrift trips, crazy good deals, and even some surprise room makeovers coming soon.